Hey guys, where's Pixie now? Well, you would never believe that I'm finally, after heartache and longing and searching, being able to get my podcast out into the universe. And I am so excited about the fact that this is my very first episode of Spiritually Speaking. And let me tell you, I'm so excited because, as I said, I think I've been wanting this since birth. I think I knew coming in that at one point in my life, I would have this opportunity to share unconditional love and possibility with you. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm known as Pixie Paula. My name is Paula Dezzutti. And though I say that I pack and unpack my suitcases in Charleston, South Carolina, I'm originally from Connecticut. I was born in Waterbury, Connecticut, but then raised my family in the northwest corner of Litchfield, Connecticut. Lakeside was the town that it was actually called. And this is a far cry from the north down here in the south, but I've been pretty much a full-time resident of the southeast since 2005. And I am delighted to take you on this journey with me to share what's happened to me in my life and my growth patterns that I've learned over numerous circumstances and decades of living life outrageously, to share with you, to hope that it might create some kind of inspiration or path for you also to share your journey with. And that's what this is really about for me, is getting folks to come together, to have fellowship and camaraderie and be able to support each other in good times and in bad. So welcome to Spiritually Speaking with Pixie Paula. I have, interestingly enough, taking my spirituality to actually be moved into the spirits business. Of all ironies, coming from an ordained minister and a mother of 9 who randomly, rarely knew anything about alcohol or drinking. I didn't grow up in a home where it was a topic of conversation. My parents didn't drink very much. My mother would drink what she would say a good Manhattan once in a while. So I didn't really know anything about alcohol. And here I would end up being the queen of spirits right now in the launch of my company, Local Choice Spirits, and the management of my distillery, the Striped Pig Distillery. So it's been an interesting journey. In fact, I'm working on my book that I can't wait for you to read. And it's called What Bourbon Taught Me About God That I Didn't Learn in Church. I was an avid churchgoer. From the time I was 2 years old, I could say that I heard what I called the voice of God. And I just thought everybody heard what I was hearing, but I would talk to God and I would hear God's voice back. And whatever you want to call it, the creator, your higher self, your soul, your spirit guide, the universal creator of all mankind, whatever you identify or label is irrelevant. Pick anything. But inside me was this stirring of this desire to have an understanding of spirituality and to explore, who am I? Where did I come from? What am I part of? And so that began my journey of going even to seminary. I volunteered for everything. I went to a Catholic school, and on the weekends, my mom taught CCD, a Catholic catechism, to those children that went to the public school, and I would even be there. I could not get enough lessons about God. And with my father, who completely supported and motivated my desire to explore metaphysics, I became the greatest student of metaphysics and quantum physics and cosmology, all throughout a very, very young age. My grandmother also supported me in this quest. As a little kid, I wanted to go to funerals all the time. I would beg my grandmother to bring me and take me to, we were Italian, so we had a big extended family. And whenever somebody passed, there was a great celebration of life with the wake and with the funeral and with the after mass and burial. We would have big home parties. And so it just was a constant part of my life. And I loved to go. Why? Because I would be hearing spirits and sounds and connections and a fascination to the afterlife that just really, really inspired me. And to this day, I spend literally hours at night. I have one phone that I keep just for running YouTubes on metaphysics while I'm sleeping, because I can't get enough of the understanding of how does the universe work. And it's really helped me grow through so many challenges and triumphs, adversity and blessings throughout my life. And so I'm excited about being able to share those with you. And then pretty ironic that I would end up in the spirits business. Got over 50 brands in the marketplace with over 250 awards, beating the market leaders across the board in every category of spirits. But I feel that this was absolutely my destiny, to have this platform where I could celebrate, share some libations, bring fellowship together, and then have the opportunity to preach, to have conversations around alcohol that would never have even occurred if I wasn't brought into this space. You might think it's pretty corny. Might seem like a far stretch. So did I. I came kicking and screaming. I thought, what the heck am I going to do? This is so far from anything that I really understand or believe in. My background was in finance and real estate development. Like, what am I doing in the spirits business? And then when you ask the right questions, you get some pretty good answers. On January 1st, 2011, 1111. And for any of you that know spirituality and metaphysics, you know that 1111 is a spiritual number. It's a portal number. And when you start seeing 1111 everywhere, you pay attention because it pops up in your face. Or anytime there's even a sequence of numbers, you start to pay attention. But 1111 is definitely a portal number for high spirituality. So look and see if it starts to show up in your path. So here I am on 11/11, and I wake up and I have this crazy dream that I'm about to tell you about. First, I thought, wow, that was some really bad Chinese that I ate the night before, which happened to be New Year's Eve. And in the relationship that I was in at the time, he wasn't really much of a party person. So I ended up celebrating New Year's Eve by myself. I watched the clock fall, the clock tick down, 10, 9, 8, 7. And I'm watching it all on TV and recording it. And I'm thinking, like, this is craziness. I want to be in active, wonderful celebration. Okay. So in this dream, I'm being told, and the synchronicity and the connection is made for me as I'm literally talking to my angels, my guardian angel, my spirit guides, who knows what they are, right? But I'm having this conversation with something definitely outside of myself. And I'm saying, why? Why would I be brought to this space? And I had a conversation with the CEO of the company that actually engaged me to help move this company out of R&D and into manufacturing. And he said to me, did it ever occur to you that you were brought to this space to change the world? And I'm thinking to myself, what is he talking about? Like, how this is a potentially vice industry. What in the world could I be doing in the middle of alcohol? I don't even drink. How is this going to become my passion project? So in the dream, as I'm asking these questions, I'm being reminded that if you think about this, fast forwarded to what we know today in the influencer marketing or the great TV world of docudramas and reality TV, let's go back a couple of thousand years and let's say that there's this amazing creative director. I'll call him God. And he says, we need to develop a story that's going to transcend all time. It's going to cover all cultures, all generations, all socioeconomics, and it's got to be the greatest story ever told. And he says, I'm going to produce this amazing reality TV show. So he hires an executive producer. Let's call her Mary. And he says, we got to come up with this amazing storyline that's going to be inspirational and transformational for its audience. We got to come up with something that's a big reveal for a character that surpasses all characters. We're going to have the most amazing cast, but we've got to come up with a storyline. And they all get together and they think about it. And Mary comes up with saying that, oh, I know. We're going to have this story about a virgin birth. And they're like, I don't know if this is going to be. And she's like, no, this story will go down in the history books. Okay. So they come up with the storyline. And now they've got to find a character to play. And it's decided that out of this virgin birth is going to become the most amazing storyteller. And let's call him Jesus. And that's the storyline in the plot. And I'm thinking, all right, this has been done before here. Pretty good storyline. Definitely lasted a couple of thousand years. Doesn't matter what religion you're in, you kind of know the story. So then they say, we've got to come up with some feat that is so magnificent that the launch of this reality show is going to have a big reveal for this character cast that it's going to break all the records. It's going to get all the ratings and nothing's ever going to surpass it. And they, well, what are the things we could think about? We could part the Red Sea? No. We could raise Lazarus from the dead? No. We could bring Moses down from a burning bush? No. For this character, it's got to be so amazing. I know. Let's have him turn water into wine. You're like, are you kidding me? This is the big reveal? Yes, that's got to be it. We're going to turn water into wine. Well, certainly the construction of that amazing story has lasted and surpassed every generation, every religious culture, every socioeconomic situation, as I mentioned, to become the greatest story of all time. Now, remind you, I'm in a dream. This is me in a dream, having this be unfolded for me so that I'm like reconciled. And I'm turning to my angels and I'm saying, yeah, I don't know here. Seems like a really far stretch to link that with what I've got going on now. And I strongly heard, if this was good enough for God, you're going to challenge this story? I'm like, okay, I see. If it's good enough for the Almighty Creator, then I'm going to walk in that story again. And that's when I woke up and I started to own that whatever the reason I was placed into this industry, there had to be something really godly about the end game. And it is not for me to decide or to challenge why me or how it's going to unfold. It is up to me to practice my journey of unconditional love and possibility and to continue to move in the faith that there is something larger and bigger and greater than me that is in control and making the plan. And that is where the life lessons come in, as being a human in a human suit or avatar on planet Earth, experiencing what it's like to be, spiritually speaking, operating as a very advanced soul in a human costume. And that is not just for me. That is for all of us. Okay, so now I've had this spiritual awakening. I'm feeling like I'm tasked with this space of enlightenment, and I'm supposed to do something within this space. So I'm trying to figure out how to reconcile the fact that I've got to take a a potentially vice industry or an industry at the time. Maybe I felt differently about it than I do now because I wasn't really around a lot of alcohol. So I had also been in a relationship where my partner abused alcohol. So I was kind of struggling with stepping into the space. And like with any business, you're going to go and you're going to raise finance, figure out the capital to support the business, find the support structure of the people who are going to help you to grow the business, put your business plan together, and work really, really, really hard as an entrepreneur. That goes in any business. But then to do it in a business that is so highly regulated and very difficult to make direct sales to consumers. We still don't have that now. And you're going back to me here in 2007 and 2008, when I first started looking at this industry, thinking it's just so challenging. So now I wake up, January 1st, 2011, and I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to make a difference in this particular industry. But the more I studied to be able to reconcile and marry, why would I be put into this space? I was recognizing that it really wasn't that much different than another potential vice industry. And what that industry ended up turning around to be able to support communities. And let me talk about that for a minute. And that is the area of gambling. Gambling, some people will just do it for fun, right? It's a great thing, but it's also a habit that can destroy and ruin lives, because the gambler is either gambling for recreational fun or activity, or can go to the opposite extreme, gets addicted to the gambling and just the high of gambling itself, but also maybe the need for finances. And they think that they're just going to chase this one last gamble and it's going to alter their future. Well, gambling used to be illegal. It was illegal in most states for a very long time. And then over the years, we moved into horse betting and off-track betting and dog betting. And then the biggest gambling application, the state lottery. And every state did not embrace the state lottery in the beginning. The more conservative states still outlawed gambling. But over time, the states that were able to pass the gambling laws and get the state lottery in force came up with a brilliant plan to shift the money that came out of gambling, and we're talking, right, trillions of dollars, into funding the education programs within those states. And the amount of money that went into saving education budgets that were failing miserably really got the attention of those in charge to say, well, now, wait a minute, if this is happening anyway, and we legalize the state lottery, then we can take all of that budget and shift it to funding the education programs in our state. And that's how the state lottery started to become adopted one after another. Now, today, if you were to repeal gambling, and you've all seen it, where you're standing in line and somebody's getting their 30 lotto tickets on a Friday, or cashing their paycheck and filling out their little ovals to get their quick picks and their state, the draw of the night for, every night at 6:00 that they're doing. I'm not a big gambler, but they're like pulling the Powerball. Okay. All that money, some people are losing, right? But some people are winning. If you were to pull back that gambling now, you would have the burden of taxation that would put back on the taxpayer to fund the education budget would be so overwhelming, you would have a revolt. So as I started recognizing that there are ways that you could take industries that are in existence and do something really great within that space, that's why I believe God put me in the middle of the spirit space. This is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. There are huge ramifications that exist in the marketplace for people who abuse alcohol, for drunk drivers, for crime. But at the same time, the conversations we're having in the middle of our spirits are that we created the first loyalty program in this space where we give $2 a bottle back for every purchasing that's in conjunction with a fundraiser or an education program. We are having conversations like this that educate about consumption, the good and the bad. We are sponsoring events around open bars that are going to exist with or without me. Let's face it, I am not going to do anything to change the consumer market in alcoholism. In alcoholic sales. There's nothing I can do. There is absolutely nothing I will be able to do. Prohibition didn't even stop drinking. The temperance movement, the 15-Gallon Act, the states that outlawed consumption, the states that outlaw consumption on Saturdays or Sundays or any of these sales. Nothing I'm going to do about any of that. But if in the middle of celebration, and let's go back to that original story of Jesus turning water into wine at the Feast of Canaan. Why? Because Mary said in her big reveal at this amazing wedding, these people need to celebrate. We want to bring spirit and fellowship and celebration to this wedding. And we're out of wine. And so let's have the best of the best for the bridegroom and his attendees, for his guests. Let's have the best of the best. So typically back in the day, after the guests would get drunk, then the providers would bring in the yucky wine, the less desirable, the cheap wine, but not in this case. It was the best of the best to enhance that celebration. And again, the fact that the big reveal for Jesus on the planet would be somehow around turning into water into wine. I go back to there's something here, because here I am having a conversation about how do I turn my water into bourbon, vodka, rum, gin, their tequilas, moonshines, wine, beer, and still have a conversation about the power and the purity of water and holy water. It's really corny, but we have a monk, a priest, and a rabbi who bless our products before they go out into the marketplace. It's been proven by Dr. Masaru Emoto that through the power and intention of prayer, you can turn dirty water into clean water. These are all undeniable sciences. And so here I am with thank you and blessings in over 300 languages on my packaging, because I don't have to announce to the world that I'm praying for them, although here I am announcing it to the world that I am praying for them. But I simply hold that space of positivity and prayer. And that's what Spiritually Speaking is all about, because here we have truly our Holy Spirits. I hope you are as excited as I am to continue this conversation and to take this spiritual journey with me. There is so much that I want to share with you, and I want to hear from you. Please feel free until we meet next week to reach out to me on social media. My Instagram is Pixie Paula Official, and Pixie is Pixie. You can also follow me on Facebook at the Striped Pig Distillery or Local Choice Spirits, and also Twitter, Paula Dezzutti. So I'm sure if you Google Pixie Paula, you'll be able to find a connection to me. And remember, I'm going to be praying for a connection to you. Until next time, remember that you are a miracle, and join us back for Spiritually Speaking.
Glutathione is a big word. It's the body's own master antioxidant. It's a scavenger for free radicals bacteria, and viruses. There are no products in the market with the ingredient NASET. NASET increases the production of glutathione that's in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system, elevate sense of well-being, support muscle strength and endurance, cognitive function, and liver support. It helps with increased energy and blood sugar regulation. Get your bottle of GSH Plus from www.salvationnutra.com.